squeak of silicone creating friction against my bare flesh. I was sweating profusely, completely drenched. The synthetic layer compressed my thighs and squeezed my waist so tightly that I could barely breathe. My lungs felt like they were on fire. But when I looked up into the full-length mirror, I am an obese girl. For all 17 years of my life, I have been a laughingstock, drowning in extreme insecurity about my oversized body. But tonight, I have found the secret to becoming skinny and flawlessly beautiful in the blink of an eye. That secret is the Venus suit skin, resting inside a sparkling black box on my bedroom floor. It is an artificial skin. All I have to do is slip it on and my body will completely change. I used every ounce of my strength to squeeze my oversized body into the impossibly tight suit. The sound of the zipper screeched with agonizing effort, mingling with the squeak of silicone creating friction against my bare flesh. I was sweating profusely, completely drenched. The synthetic layer compressed my thighs and squeezed my waist so tightly that I could barely breathe. My lungs felt like they were on fire. But when I looked up into the full-length mirror, a girl named Kira appeared. Skinny, flawlessly beautiful. I stepped out into the hallway to test the disguise and happened to walk past the bathroom. My mom was washing her face. She looked up, saw the strange girl reflected in the mirror, and screamed in sheer terror, "Who are you?" That scream snapped me awake, horrified as I remembered I was still wearing the fake skin. I bolted back to my room in a frenzy, frantically peeled the suit off and shoved it under my bed. When my mom banged on the door, I cracked it open looking groggy, lying that no one was there. She rushed off to search the house, while I slid down to the floor gasping for air. I am Luna, 17 years old, and this is the story of my life's most desperate lie. Right from the moment I was born, I had an unusually large body. I weighed over 10 pounds, leaving both my parents and the nurses shocked and judging my weight. The obsession with the numbers on the scale only grew heavier as the years went by. Ever since I was a kid, I was used to being mocked as a big back. In high school, the cruelty crossed every limit. Luckily, I always had Jenny, my absolute best friend, by my side. Whenever I cried from being bullied, Jenny would always hug me tight, wipe my tears, and fiercely yell at those mean girls. During those times, my only safe haven was a hidden corner in the library, where I buried myself in sketching drawings. The absolute peak of hell was when the popular mean girls tricked me into attending a party. In reality, it was a trap to make me the sacrificial lamb for a cruel live stream prank on TikTok. And the worst part was, it happened right in front of Aiden, my secret crush. In that humiliating moment, I wanted to disappear from the world. That night, as I was crying my eyes out in my room, the doorbell rang. There was no one there, just a mysterious, anonymously sent black box sitting on the porch. It was the Venus suit. Returning to the present, I arrived at school under the identity of a new student named Kira. From the very first second I walked past the lockers, this thin layer of fake skin transformed me into the new queen of the school. Boys whistled, and the exact same bullies who cruelly tormented Luna yesterday were now sucking up, surrounding me to praise my tiny waist and perfect side profile. How utterly ridiculous. And then Aiden appeared. Seeing him from a distance, my heart raced erratically. With a little borrowed courage from this shell, I purposefully stumbled and faked falling right into Aiden's arms. His reflexes were quick. He caught my waist perfectly. The scent of his cedarwood cologne filled my senses. Aiden flashed a captivating half-smile, leaned in close, and whispered in my ear, "I can read your mind, you know. If you're free this Saturday, let's hang out." The date invitation slipped out unbelievably easily. I stood there, smiling as brightly as a flower, but deep down inside, Luna was screaming from a vague sense of guilt. That Saturday evening, we met at a quiet little indie cafe. While sitting at the table waiting for Aiden to grab our drinks, my old habit kicked in. I pulled a ballpoint pen out of my pocket and started doodling on a paper napkin on the table. I focused on quickly sketching a chubby cat curled up sleeping peacefully on the bar counter. When Aiden returned carrying 2 drinks, he abruptly froze. A flash of pure astonishment crossed his eyes when he saw the napkin. He furrowed his brows, pulled the paper closer to him without saying a word, and gently traced his finger over the ink lines that hadn't completely dried. Aiden looked up at me, his tone entirely stripped of its initial playfulness. "You drew this? These strokes, they have soul. Can I keep this?" With that, he carefully folded the napkin and tucked it neatly into the innermost pocket of his leather wallet. Underneath the tight artificial skin, my heart pounded frantically with the fear of my true identity being exposed. But at the same time, it trembled with intense emotion because, for the very first time in my life, a boy truly and openly cherished my art and my inner world like this. I absent-mindedly ordered another of my favorite sugar-dusted donuts. Aiden watched me devour it with such an affectionate gaze that it made me forget this was the very treat that had once caused Luna to be cruelly bullied. After eating, we took a stroll along the riverbank together. But that turned out to be a terrible idea. The long walk caused the artificial skin to start constricting my muscles, leaving me gasping for air. My wrists chafed red, and I was sweating buckets under the suffocating silicone. The guilt of deceiving him and the physical exhaustion swelled up. I abruptly stopped under the sickly yellow glow of a street lamp. I looked up at Aiden, my eyes completely shedding Kira's fake confidence, now timid and vulnerable, carrying the exact gaze of Luna. Aiden, everyone at school likes me because I'm pretty, but if I showed my bare face, or if I wasn't slim like this, even if I was really ugly, would you still stand here with me? I held my breath, expecting a dismissive fuckboy-type answer. But no, he stepped closer, smiled gently, and used his finger to brush away a sweat-soaked lock of hair stuck to my forehead. Looks will change over time anyway. I'm not here for your waist. Compared to this exterior, I find your inner soul much more beautiful. I like the cat you drew. Don't ever worry about that. Those words completely broke me. I was so moved that my eyes shimmered with unshed tears. Right at that moment, Aiden took my hand and softly asked me to be his date for the school's upcoming prom night. I proudly went to prom with Aiden disguised as the beautiful Kira, but the party turned into a death sentence. Because I had eaten and danced too vigorously, the artificial skin reached its absolute breaking point. Tiny tearing sounds echoed. The skin began to visibly crack at my wrists and the back of my neck. The synthetic adhesive peeled off due to my sweat. I felt a bitter lump in my throat, suffocating. My heart rate skyrocketing as if it were going to explode out of my chest. Feeling like I couldn't deceive Aiden and deceive myself for another second, I made an excuse and bolted desperately to the girls' bathroom. Standing in front of the large mirror, I stared intensely at Kira, a flawless but soulless and disgustingly fake version. A single tear rolled down. Without further hesitation, I dug my fingers into the edge of the skin and used all my might to rip the artificial layer right down from my neck. The harsh sound of tearing rubber echoed loudly in the restroom. I gasped for air, dripping in sweat, as the shell dropped to the floor, returning me to my true, oversized body huddled inside the loose, baggy dress I wore underneath. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Luna walked out of the bathroom in her true form, head held high, stepping right into the middle of the dance floor. The entire hall went dead silent. The music seemingly stopped. The crowd started whispering, pointing, and a few of my former bullies smirked, getting ready to laugh at my body. But right at that moment, Aiden decisively parted the crowd and stepped forward. He stood in front of me, glanced at the remnants of artificial skin still clinging to my wrist, and then looked straight into my tear-filled eyes. There was no disgust, no anger. He smiled with pure relief, a smile as bright as the sun. So this is where you've been hiding all this time? Give Luna back. I miss the girl who eats donuts and sits drawing in the library so much more. That sentence left me stunned. As it turned out, Aiden had been secretly admiring me for my drawing talent. But because at school I was always insecure, keeping my head down and hiding from the world, he never had a chance to approach Luna. Aiden gently confessed that on the very night of our cafe date, when he saw the chubby cat drawing on the napkin, he immediately recognized me. Aiden had casually walked past the library corner, silently watching me deeply engrossed in sketching into my notebook multiple times. That signature stroke was absolutely unmistakable. He knew Kira was Luna, but he chose to stay silent. He patiently waited for the day I was brave enough to step out into the light myself. Back in the present, Aiden took out his phone. On his camera roll were countless secretly taken photos of me deeply engrossed in sketching in the hidden corners of the library. My heart practically burst with happiness. Aiden gallantly extended his hand, formally inviting Luna, in her true, oversized body, for a dance. The scene ends with my most confident, radiant smile ever. At that same moment, in a dim corner of the hall, Jenny stood with her arms crossed, smiling radiantly as she watched me shine. Later, Jenny revealed to me that when she saw me, her best friend, suffering so desperately because of my weight, She scraped together all her savings to buy the Venus suit and sent it anonymously to my house. Jenny bought that skin hoping to help me hide from the cruelty at school. But little did she know, that fake skin would be the exact thing that helped me rediscover my self-love and find a guy who loves me for my true inner beauty. Yes, the most precious skin a girl can wear is confidence. Have you ever felt insecure about your appearance? Leave a comment to share your story, rate us 5 stars, and follow the channel